Welcome, everyone, to the main event, Mark's podcast. I am lifelong wrestling fan, figure collector, the leader of the Jack brand in the main event Figure Federation. I am Troy, and with me, as always, is the leader of the Overdrive brand on the main event Figure Federation. He is the WWE Walking Wrestling Encyclopedia and the main event collector. He is the Rey Mysterio to my Conan. He is Greg. What's up, Greg?
What's up? Cool. I'm the good one finally.
You're Rey Mysterio Senior. I should point that out.
It's still better than Conan.
Hell, how dare you say that? Conan was like the Hulk Hogan of Mexico.
I don't know what to do with that.
Oddly enough, people talk about that. He was basically the Hulk Hogan of Mexico for the longest time. They talked about he would get just mobbed walking down the street. He was so freaking popular, and he was in what do they call him? The soap operas in Mexico, novellas or whatever the hell.
Telenovela, yes.
Telenovela, yeah. But he was in one of those, and apparently I don't know much about Mexican culture, but apparently that's the peak of stardom down there is I'm on a telenovela. Where here in America,
it's true. It's true. That's all I'm like.
Yeah. Which is funny because it's that's the reverse here in America. It's oh, you're on a soap opera? Oh, well, I hope your career gets off to a good start.
Well, it can literally only go up from there, so it's fine.
Just ask John Stamos. But anyway, getting into the show today, man, we are talking about the Collision Course. It is Starrcade 1990.
That is a hell of a title, by the way. Wink, wink.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of dig it, but at the same time, I don't want to say it was misleading, because, I mean, it didn't lead me to think anything. I was like, okay, Collision Course, whatever. But
what did you think when you heard it?
When I'm thinking Collision Course, I was thinking something like when they say, oh, the Mega Powers explode or whatever. It's okay, two guys have been on this collision course to this epic main event.
See, when I heard it, I'm thinking, is this another crossover show? Something?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can see that too. And this one, I don't know. It was like an international tournament was the theme of the show. Oh, by the way, this big storyline we've been building up for months and months and months. Yeah, that's the main event. I don't know.
We'll get to that.
Well, this show took place, its 30-year anniversary is actually coming up in 2 weeks. We were dropping it on December 2nd. It was a show. I'll say that. I didn't completely hate it.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah, it was.
This is not something I'm gonna at the end of this go watch it. Go. I'll say that now. I'm not gonna say that, but
no,
I didn't hate it.
No, definitely not. This was I think the second or third Starrcade to take place in December. Because for all of you that didn't know, Starrcade used to be the Thanksgiving night tradition, where every Thanksgiving Day it was Starrcade. It wasn't a Sunday pay-per-view. So it was things were a lot different back in the day. The reason they switched the date actually was completely because of Survivor Series. So I know you knew that, but all of our listeners may not have known that. We try to educate you here on the podcast. That
was a good Survivor Series too. One of my favorites, 1990. I love that. That was also the debut of The Undertaker, by the way. So
and the Gobbledygooker. How did you leave that one out?
Who just won the 24/7 title, by the way.
So. I saw that, yeah. Well, this is actually, I just looked it up, is the second Starrcade to take place in December. So, and it's all because of Vince McMahon. Like I said, Vince started the, going against Starrcade or, Jim Crockett Promotions, NWA, whatever, on pay-per-view. He started that, and then Jim Crockett Promotions tried to hit him back, or WCW, rather, tried to hit him back. And it was just, for lack of a better term, it was a pissing contest for the longest time. So,
you know what's funny, by the way? It was only last year when I finally realized when people were when I read old stuff and people put JCP. It took me forever to realize it was Jim Crockett Promotions.
Oh,
I know it seems obvious, but it's what the hell is JCP?
And we're definitely going to get into some of that in the news here in just a moment. But this month, we are finally out with the turkey. That turkey's been fried or roasted or baked or whatever the hell you do with it. Yeah, a little bit of that. We are out with a turkey, and we are now in with the big guy with a big red sack and the big white beard.
Good Lord.
Who you saw your mom kissing underneath the mistletoe. So try to sleep with that image in your head. And like the Godfather, he's bringing the ho-ho-hos into December. No? Yes?
I'm going to just... You do you.
All right.
We don't judge here. You know that, so...
Yeah. Well, anyway, we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, getting into all the news and notes of the time.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at @main_event_marks and Facebook at facebook.com/main_event_marks_pod.
Now, back to our program.
All right, news and notes time. The first news and notes section of the month of December. I'm excited. What happened in December of 1990 here, Andre the Giant is not going to be making the 1991 Royal Rumble after all due to injury. He apparently suffered a blood clot in his leg while riding around in a Japanese taxi.
Damn.
I don't know if I should comment on that one. The story had a picture of a toy taxi, and it said actual depiction.
I mean, it's probably close. He was huge. He was huge.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a big hype. He was supposed to be in the 1991 Royal Rumble. They were building it up for months, and then they're like,
that could have been the only time we saw him and the Undertaker square off.
Yeah, man. That sucks. I mean, he would have actually been in the ring with a giant who could work for once. How about that?
I don't know what to say.
Well, here's another injury thing out of the WWF that's pretty famous and upsetting, or should I say infamous. During a recent WWF TV taping, jobber Charles Austin suffered what appeared to be a broken neck in a squash loss to the Rockers as he took a rocker dropper wrong and ended up in the hospital in critical condition, unable to move anything but his toes.
I remember seeing this on the news.
Yeah.
It was weird because it was like wrestling's on the news, you know, like the actual like local news.
You notice, wrestling is never on the news for anything positive ever.
Oh, hell no.
They're never like
Chris Jericho once said, it's the redheaded stepchild of everything, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, like, anytime you see it on any news program or anything like that, it's some child was doing a wrestling move to their sibling and killed them, or, something like that. And who's to blame? Well, clearly Vince McMahon and his World Wrestling Entertainment. Even though they've got 5,000 Don't Do This at Home commercials.
It was even back in the day. It was always WWE. Even when WCW was kicking their ass, they were the ones getting blamed.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ted Turner and everybody sitting back like, oh, look at how bad they are. Yeah. But yeah, the Charles Austin thing, I don't know if he was finally paralyzed or not, and I think the WWF did have to end up
They paid his bills and stuff like that, and they gave him a bigger payout, but he made a huge stink about it because he's only paid $500 or something like that. It's like for the match.
Jeez. I mean, that's typical jobber fare, I think. I think you get $500.
1990, $500 though. I mean.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not bad for
We're not talking 2020, $500.
Oh, yeah. The rumor is that Jacques Rougeau is returning as a singles wrestler with some kind of Canadian mounted police gimmick.
Oh, good Lord.
Uncle Dave's exact quote was, "Man, they're getting desperate for gimmicks."
You know what, though? I don't know. That one worked, I feel like.
It was dumb, but at the same time, I mean, it's like, I don't know if it really was that dumb. I mean,
it was stereotypical. I think they got in trouble for it, didn't they?
Well, we hold the big boss man in high esteem, and he had the same gimmick, but American.
But also, to be fair, though, he actually was that, though. I mean,
well,
really
yeah.
Gimmick. This one, I get it. It was like a Canadian stereotype, but I don't know. It kind of worked, I thought. I mean, obviously I hated it because he was a heel, but I don't know. Looking back at it, it spawned a tag team.
If anybody
it gave us Raven.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Issue number 1 of WWF's Bodybuilding Lifestyles magazine launched this past week, and it was a major disappointment.
No.
Yeah, much like most of Vince's other ventures outside of WWE.
You know what's funny? No joke. I bet you Dave Meltzer kind of liked it.
He said it was a dumb, ill-fated idea.
I just feel like because he's a fitness guru.
He is, but at the same time, like, I don't know if it was because it was WWF and he has a inherent bias towards them, but he just crapped all over this and the World Bodybuilding Federation, and I don't know. He hated it. So, I mean, it's not like he was Nostradamus here, but, I mean, he did talk about how stupid it was and how it was going to fail, and by God, look who won the pony.
Yeah, but come on, dude. Really?
Well, like I said,
you predict that. Ooh, man.
I know. Like I said, it's not like he was Nostradamus.
Tell me my lucky numbers this week.
Yeah, I know. Well, you notice, like, Vince McMahon literally did one thing that was a huge success, lasted for decades and decades, is going to last beyond his years, and a huge success. Everything else he tried outside of that sucked.
Holding sucked?
Like, his music studio, no. His nightclub, no. Bodybuilding, no. Karate fighters, no. Like, just everything.
Karate fighters was Hasbro, dude.
Well, not the, you know what I mean. They were going to do it. For those that don't know, they were going to do like a worked karate show, like almost like work karate, like wrestling.
And this is pre-Tozawa, by the way.
Yeah. And they were going to put this on TV like a show. I actually think it was a cool idea. But the thing is, they got like legit karate fighters to come in there, and nobody wanted to be scripted to lose. So the whole thing fell apart. No, I don't know. And this was during the time when, like, Power Rangers was, like, huge, so it might have done well. I don't know. Something else that didn't do well on TV, Jesse Ventura has a new syndicated TV show, a courtroom show with Lyle Alzado, where people present their cases to them and then battle it out with novelty boxing gloves while Ventura does commentary.
God, that has money written all over it.
I've never even heard of this crap. What the hell?
I didn't know about the boxing part. I knew about the judge part. That's kind of new to me.
Yeah, I had heard he had some show that he was wearing. I had heard he had some like buddy cop whatever thing that they were going to do, and I think they filmed the pilot, and that was literally it. But I don't know. I think he had a couple ventures into TV, and it was always something involving, you know, wrestling crossed over with such and such, and nothing ever worked out. The Junkyard Dog managed to tear Harley Race's rotator cuff by falling on top of him accidentally during a body slam attempt, so Race will be out of action for a while, and I believe this was actually it for him. He was done.
It's in WWE, yes.
Yeah, so I think he did pop up one other time, or I don't know.
I think he did one of the Slamboree Legends reunions. I think
that's it. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, because it was him versus Wildfire Tommy Rich in the...
Oh, man, that's money.
It was the most boring effing match of all time. Race was still wearing his King gear, and, you know, curmudgeon-y JR was trying to... He's like, well, I guess he's a Sacramento Kings fan.
What the hell?
Yeah, that's what he said. I was like, sure? But,
well, he can go to hell then.
yeah, the guy from Kansas City, Missouri, he's a big Sacramento Kings fan, let me tell you. But after the long and difficult battle to win the rights to the NWA name, all references to it are being phased out. NWA Main Event is now officially changed to WCW Main Event, for example.
Yeah, I was going to use that as one of my notes, too. This is the last ever NWA pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I want to say until the one we just reviewed, Victory Road.
Yeah,
at least on a traditional 3-hour pay-per-view.
Oh, right, yeah. For a big nationwide company, yeah. I mean, it would be used for a while by Eastern Championship Wrestling, but you know that was real short-lived, and they weren't on pay-per-view. So, I mean, people can, if anybody remembers the infamous Shane Douglas thing where he says all the former champions can kiss his ass, and he throws the domed globe onto the ground. So, yeah. NWA was going the way of the dinosaurs here, and WCW,
and people, all the old guys will still blame Vince, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you ever heard that famous or infamous interview with Ole Anderson on RF Video where he was like going off about Ric Flair.
Yep.
Just being super. And he was like, well, he's NWA champ, and he was like, champ of what? He's like, what territories were there? That title was meaningless. There was no NWA. It's like, oh, good Lord. Okay, he held the damn big gold belt. That's what he held, okay?
Sometimes you hold it, dude.
God damn, Ole Anderson just, like, made a living off of being a surly old fart.
He was always the literally the fourth horseman too. By the way, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's the one that didn't go into the Hall of Fame. For God's sake. But that was a good segue.
Hey, Barry Windham's better than him anyway, so no one's ever going to argue that. So
no effing doubt. Yeah. Well, I don't know. If you talk to someone like Jim Cornette, who just defends him to the death, but he defends a lot of terrible things. So
I'd say Barry Windham's better than a lot of people too, though. To be fair.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's on this card, by the way. But that was a good transition with the Ole Anderson thing here, because some other surly old fart, Jim Herd, gave an interview where he said that he actually liked Ole Anderson and, quote, hoped to bring him into the 21st century.
Yeah. Well, did Pizza Hut need a delivery boy or what?
Yeah, well, if one person is going to bring you up to speed in today's wrestling, it's Jim effing Herd.
Holy shit.
By God.
Oh, God. Holy crap, you said that, dude.
Well, am I wrong?
No, just I wasn't ready for that. I'm glad I wasn't drinking any water.
It's just like, when I read that quote, I'm like, of all effing people, Jim Herd is going to say, like, God dang.
Dude, that is the endorsement.
When Jim Herd is telling you you're out of touch, you might want to reevaluate things. But Ole, meanwhile, has gotten into managing a mill in Wisconsin and is much happier doing that than anything in wrestling.
I am not even remotely shocked at that.
Yeah. Jim Ross used to talk about, like, he basically just collected a paycheck and did bupkis for WCW, because he said, Jim Ross said it was up to him and Tony Schiavone to write half the damn shows and finish him up, because Ole would come in and be like, you got the show ready yet? I'm going home. Whether you got it ready or not, I'm out of here. And he would just leave. And he's like, okay. And then he'd show up for, the day for TV. He's like, got it ready, right? So
I can't believe the Discord there.
I know. Speculation is still running rampant, by the way, in the wake of Ole Anderson getting fired as Booker. This comes after Starrcade.
It literally, from my knowledge, it comes like right as it goes off the air.
Oh, I'm sure it is. They're like, all right, good show, everybody. Ole, you're fired. Dusty Rhodes is certainly the top candidate, and that theory is bolstered by the house show results from the past week in the WWF, which saw Dusty Rhodes doing 90-second jobs to Virgil at every show. You think that was a rib, by the way?
Clearly.
Virgil jobbing out to Virgil. Just,
I believe his last match would be Virgil's face turn, ironically enough.
However, the top guys in WCW insist that no one has spoken to Dusty about the job. Their list supposedly included Terry Funk, Eddie Gilbert, Ken Mantell, and Jerry Jarrett. With Bill Watts, with Bill Watts already having turned down the job. Well,
he would get it eventually, though, right?
I thought he was the booker before. No, he was the booker before this. Like, I don't think
so. I feel like he did 1992.
That's
when they had the whole...
Okay, I think he came back. Yeah, because I know he was booker there for a while.
What was the whole 1990?
I don't know. He was. I think he was booking for a little while, or helping to book there for a little while, and then because I know he was there with Jim Cornette at one point, and then he left, and he must have came back, because I remember. I specifically remember Eric Bischoff saying he had to clean up a lot of Bill Watts' messes when he finally took over. So that I remember that.
How big is your broom?
Yeah, well, he said that specifically he had to clean stuff up with New Japan Pro Wrestling, because they were so pissed off at the way Bill Watts treated them that they were not willing to do anything with WCW. So,
well, they haven't seen nothing yet.
Oh, man.
Vince Russo's going to come in and piss on their title.
Well, Vince Russo's going to come in and piss off the Japanese. He's going to piss off the Mexicans. He's going to piss off everybody.
Oh, do you remember when he had Juventud take the title from Jushin Liger on Nitro?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that pissed off the Japanese, and then he pissed off the Mexicans by having piñatas on a pole, and all the Mexicans had to drink tequila, and yeah. All right, anyway. Getting into something less depressing. Let's hit our break. We'll come back talking about the show at hand. It's WCW Starrcade 1990.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at main_event_marks and Facebook at facebook.com/main_event_marks_pod.
Now, back to our program.
All right, jingle bells. We're back here.
Batman smells.
For WCW Starrcade 1990 Collision Course. It took place December 16th, 1990 at the Kiel Auditorium in St. Louis, Missouri, very famous arena. The attendance was 7,200 with 6,357 paid.
Sorry, you just called it an auditorium and said it was a nice arena, a famous arena. It can't be both.
Okay, whatever. It was a famous auditorium. Whatever the hell. It was a famous venue. How about that?
All right, that's better.
It was used a lot back in the old NWA territory days. I think, didn't WWF go there a couple times? I can't remember.
I'm almost certain. I remember hearing the name when I was a kid, so yeah.
Isn't that where, because there was one WWF event, they were in St. Louis, and they brought out a couple of St. Louis legends to honor them with like a plaque and whatever. I think it was here, I want to say. But I could be wrong. But anyway, they paid a total gate of $93,425, which in today's money is over $186,000. So, inflation, people. But the
Was it sellout?
I don't believe so. I could be wrong. I don't know how many people that arena or auditorium, whatever that venue holds. I don't know how many people. The pay-per-view buy rate was a 1.3, for which equated to 175,000 buys. So not bad.
I remember us watching this on pay-per-view too. So.
Oh, you ordered it?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Someone in my house did.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, because I remember you saying something about you had a friend that, or your dad had a friend or something that ordered all the WCW shows.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Because we had just watched Halloween Havoc over there. I remember that. So.
Ah, cool. Yeah, this was back in the day. For people that don't know, people that don't remember, they didn't have a pay-per-view every month. They were lucky if they had one every other month. And we're actually going to talk about that.
These are the closest to, I believe, in all of wrestling at this point. November and then December, I believe.
Well, yeah, they had they had Halloween Havoc in October, this in December, and then we're going to talk about their next pay-per-view they're advertising here is in February. So it was like you had...
Yeah, and WWE ran those. They went from WrestleMania to SummerSlam. It was, what, 6-month gap?
Yeah.
6? 5?
And then, yeah, it was about a 6-month gap, and then they would have, a 3-month gap until Survivor Series, and then they added Royal Rumble, so that was, a 2-month gap. So, I mean, WWE eventually caught up with things, and I can't even remember the first time they added King of the Ring as an actual pay-per-view.
1993.
Okay, so yeah, we were still a ways off. By now, they did have the big four, Mania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Royal Rumble, all in effect. And for those who don't remember, the first Royal Rumble in '88 took place on TV, so it wasn't even a pay-per-view back then. Since they're in St. Louis, they introduced the former NWA promoter Sam Muchnick to the crowd, which flips out for him. They still know who Sam is. By the way, Sam appeared, like I mentioned, in, I want to say, 96, 97 for the WWE. He didn't look much older than he did here in 1990. He just came out of the womb looking 50 years old. And then he jumped straight to 70, and there you go. But Sam Muchnick talks to the crowd a little bit, thanking the bunch of people there. You can barely hear what the hell he's saying, by the way, because the mic volume is so low. Was that just my audio, or did you do that?
Kind of, yeah.
Well, yeah, because I was like, I thought he was muted there for a little while. I'm like, what is he even saying? But they eventually turned his stuff up halfway through what he was saying. But Sam looks like he's getting emotional towards the end there. After all of this, we get the Marines holding up the American flag as the United States national anthem plays. That's how they started a lot of NWA shows back in the day. The first match of the night threw me for a loop because I was like, that's a hell of a matchup. We got beautiful Bobby Eaton taking on the Z-Man.
The Z-Man. The effing Z-Man.
Yeah. And it wasn't just... And they didn't even call him Tom Zink. It was just the Z-Man.
I gotta be honest with you. I was a huge mark of his when I was a kid. I don't know why. I think I just liked the white meat baby faces.
I'll say this. He had the look, bro. He had the... he had some charisma to him, awkward charisma, whatever, but still some charisma.
He got a little more of it when he teamed with Brian Pillman, I feel like.
Yeah, and he looked like he was something, and he was not a terrible wrestler, but at the end of the day, he just didn't have it. Looking back at his matches, I never said, I was like, my God, that was well worth my time. But this match was 8 minutes, 45 seconds.
How many matches have you ever watched in your life that you actually said that after?
If it's a
look, I can be talking about Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. I don't think I ever watched that match and said that was worth my time. I just liked it or not.
Well, at the end of the match, I'm not sitting there going, God dang, how much time did I waste watching this crap? Like at that, I was like, wow, that was really good. Yeah, it just sometimes, and there have been matches you and I have reviewed this. Like, look, it was 5 minutes in runtime, but I felt like it was 50 minutes in runtime. It dragged the hell on. This did not drag on, but I did say Z-Man looks like a complete idiot at one point trying to pin Bobby Eaton outside of the ring, and that's never been a thing. So I was like, what is he doing?
At least not then.
Yeah. Well, Z-Man misses some kind of top rope move, falls flat on his ass. Eaton rolls him up with a small package and gets the win. This apparently ended the Z-Man's 35-match winning streak. So, look, nothing against Bobby Eaton, but he had just broken off from Stan Lane to do his own thing. Stan went back to Memphis with Steve Keirn to be the Fabulous Ones. And
Stan's about to go to WWE and be an announcer, so.
Yeah. And, I don't know, of all people to end a 35-match win streak against the Z-Man, it is like Bobby Eaton.
Well, he's getting ready to be a TV champ, too, so clearly there was plans in place there. Yeah.
I think he needed a mouthpiece. Like, he needed a Jim Cornette type. And I think the fans were...
Oh, yeah, you can only stand, like, silently with your hands on your hips for so long.
Right. Yeah, but...
it worked for Braden Walker, but that was a one-trick pony.
My God. Check this out, though, man. Uncle Dave gave this 3 stars. I gave it 1.5. I thought it was meh. What say you?
I gave it 2. I was not out of it. I was kind of into it.
I don't know. I was a little harsh with some of these matches, but I think I was a little generous with others. But this one just didn't click for me. I don't know. And I didn't hate it. But up next, we got Tony Schiavone calling out Dick the Bruiser, who I did not expect to see on the show. Keep in mind, I didn't look ahead to see who all was on the card, so I was like, oh, okay. But Schiavone asked him what he's going to do tonight as the special enforcer for the main event cage match. The Bruiser has a voice like gravel in a cement mixer.
Dude, seriously, stop smoking.
Well, the thing is, he's always talked that way, so I was just like, what the frick, dude? But he says he's the champion of all cage matches throughout history, so he knows what's going to go on. And he also says that he's heard there is more than one Black Scorpion, and he's going to make sure that Sting gets a fair shake. So, cool.
There were actually 4, so he wasn't wrong.
Yeah. Well, the rumor is he was actually supposed to be the special referee for another match, which is escaping me. But at the day of the show, they're like, you know what? You're going to be in the main event. And he's like, all right, whatever.
All right, I'll take the upgrade. Whatever.
Yeah.
Do I get a bump in pay? No. Oh.
Yeah, can you put an extra 0 on the end of that check? Yeah, thanks. But all right, we get a parade of beautiful women after this, walking with various national flags to the ring and then right to the back. They look like they're just modeling. I wonder where they picked up all these models, Greg. Would you happen to have an idea?
Models R Us.
Ah, yeah, there you go. Hey, I'm glad you picked up on that one. All right. This first match, this is the night, by the way, they are having gotta take a deep breath here before I start this one. The Pat O'Connor Memorial International Cup Tag Team Tournament. All right.
At Starrcade.
Yes. Representing South Africa, we got the team of Colonel de Klerk and Sergeant Kruger. They're taking on the Steiner brothers, Rick and Scott Steiner, representing the US of A. This match went for 2 minutes, 12 seconds. That's a theme with tonight. There are 14 matches in total on the card, by the way.
I noticed that, too, watching all these. I'm like, why are these matches so damn short? And then I looked at it, and like, the runtime's almost 3 hours.
Yeah, they have 14 matches spread across 3 hours and a whole bunch of gaga. Like, the thing with the models took, 3 times as long as the actual match here.
Do you know who these guys were, by the way? Just curious.
I know Sergeant Kruger went on to do something. I don't know.
Kruger was originally was a Doink the Clown.
Ray Apollo. That's right.
And then Rock was the other one.
Yes. De Klerk. Colonel De Klerk was Rocco Rock.
I don't know what the hell that means, De Klerk, but...
Yeah, I don't know. But apparently they were supposed to represent South Africa because they look like what would become the Truth Commission, I guess. I don't know. Yes, Kruger with Ray Apollo, he was the one that took over for the original Doink the Clown, as far as I know. So I think he did a lot of work in 95. But either way, this match, one of the guys, it was De Klerk, who was Rocco Rock. He front flipped over the top rope onto Rick Steiner, but he basically misses and almost lands straight on his head, and Rick laughs at him. Ha ha, he almost died, yeah, piece of crap.
Wow.
Scott and
I don't know what to say to that.
He did. I mean, that's like, he's like, ha ha, landed on his head, almost died, screw you, you piece of crap, and then he rolls back in the ring. That's like, damn, dude, cold-blooded. But Scott pins Kruger with a Frankensteiner.
What nation were they representing again?
South Africa.
Wasn't this the whole free South Africa point in history?
I think so, yeah. And that's why they had the commissions and stuff like that. And
okay. I didn't piece that together until now, but this was the whole free South Africa movement. I remember this. Yeah.
Hey, there were a few nations represented here that it was like, but yeah, we'll get to them. But Uncle Dave gave this 1 1/4 star. I gave it 1 star because it sucked. What say you?
1.
Yeah.
I felt like you didn't even ask me that one.
Right. Yeah, I did because that's what I do. Up next, we got the United Kingdom team of gentlemen Chris Adams and Norman Smiley taking on the Mexican team of Conan and Rey Mysterio.
Can we also point out that at least all these guys actually represent these nations?
Yeah, I mean, Conan represented Mexico because he worked there, but for people that don't know, I think he's Cuban?
He's Cuban.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. This was Rey Mysterio Sr., by the way, Rey Jr.'s uncle. So he wore the weirdest effing outfit, by the way. I was like, what the hell? But
I didn't say what the hell only because I knew that was normal for him.
Well, it wasn't the mask I was used to, so I was just kind of like, what the? All right. Uncle Dave said that this was a complete styles clash, and Adams was working with broken ribs on top of that. Conan gets the pinfall win by hooking the legs, kind of laying back on Smiley. It's kind of hard to describe. Mysterio then randomly dives out over the top rope onto Chris Adams after the match and hurts himself by hitting the stairs. I was like, what's the point of that? Match is over, dude.
Because it's funny. It's good. It's good crap, pal.
Yeah. Well, this is one where Uncle Dave and I differed. Again, he kind of the reverse of before. He gave it 1.5 stars. I gave it 2.5 stars because for a 5.5 minute match, I thought it was average. What say you?
I gave it 2. I had a little fun watching this. Not a lot, but a little. Did you notice, by the way, on the Chiron, they misspelled Mysterio? They put a C instead of an O at the end.
Really?
Yes.
No, I didn't. They did that. They had a couple spelling errors here. I'll get to one coming up the next match here in a second. But yeah, I was just like, what the? Who the hell is nobody's spell checking these things? Nobody's going over their work for God's sake.
I guess they didn't have Microsoft Word back then. Yeah.
I don't know what it was with WCW production, but they could never get their crap together. I remember there was one show that you and I were reviewing where they just put up a blank Chiron all night.
That was the Clash of the Champions that was dedicated to the troops.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they just kept putting up a blank effing Chiron, and I was just like, I listened to Tony Schiavone watch it back, do like a watch-along, and halfway through the show, he's like, either quit putting up the damn Chiron or fix a damn thing.
How many times do you think he said that on his mic that we didn't hear?
Oh, I know. But we now go to Missy Hyatt before all of her plastic... Well, she had some plastic surgery, but not all of it at this point. She was standing
Not touching that?
She was standing with her back to the crowd, interviewing Alexandra York and Michael Wall Street. Alexandra York, for those that don't know, was Terry Runnels, and Michael Wall Street was Mike Rotunda. the soon-to-be IRS, or no, he was already IRS. That's right. He came back to WCW, correct?
Nope. It's about to be
No?
IRS.
Oh, okay. So I'm getting timelines wrong.
Either
Either
way,
way,
got that timeline thing.
wow. But Missy Hyatt asks or says that York's computer predicts that Wall Street will beat Terry Taylor tonight in less than 8 minutes and 32 seconds. York says,
I need to take back what I was saying about Microsoft Word and the misspelling. Never mind.
yeah.
I have a computer.
Yeah, right. And York says that it's not a prediction; it's a fact.
It's a
Wall
spoiler.
Street. Yeah, right. That's what I was thinking. Wall Street then delivers some lame line about, "When I'm done with you, you're going to be yesterday's news, pal."
No,
Like,
when he's done with him, he's going to be Terrence Taylor, pal. True story.
Yeah, the tailor-made man.
Terrence Taylor is coming to the York Foundation. Not to jump ahead. Spoiler.
Yeah. We just got to touch
Tailor-made
on
man
this.
is a completely different thing, by the way. So he's had quite a few pieces of crap.
Good grief. Yeah.
The Red Rooster, Terrence Taylor, and the Tailor-Made Man. How
many
did he
crappy-
not get more world titles or a world title?
I know. How can you not just, gosh, he just fell into the box of gimmicks and pulled them all out.
He fell into like a tape wrapped around him and they all got stuck on him.
For those that don't know, by the way, this was, the York Foundation was like, Alexander York had this computer. This was back, when home computers were still relatively new. Not everybody hardly anybody had them. And they claimed to have a program on the computer that would tell them exactly how to win and how, what to look out for and what time the match would be and length and all this other crap. And she would be at ringside on this little laptop thing, like typing away, and it's like giving hints. Well, the computer says to do this move.
And then they would take the guys that and when they turned heel, they would give them like proper names. So like Terrence Taylor, Richard Morton, Thomas Rich.
And it wasn't just Mike Rotunda anymore; it was Michael Wall Street.
Yes.
So,
I don't know why it was Wall Street because he had never left, so they just changed it from Rotunda. So
yeah, well, it was like JBL suddenly going from a beer swilling Texas hick to now I'm on Wall Street. Damn it!
But that's really him, though.
Yeah, I know that one was more believable. This one was just like, you're Michael Wall Street now, or whatever. Yeah, so
This was BK Wall Street, which is clearly a shot. Anyways, we're digressing.
Right. This was back before people knew what the hell computers could do and could not do. So you could play on this stuff, and people were just oblivious. Most people, anyway. This next match was representing New Zealand. It was the team of the Royal Family, Jack Victory and Rip Morgan, taking on the team from Japan, Mr. Saito and the Great Muta.
Okay, first of all, two things. Number one, this is like the first Jack Victory thing we've had since like we rebooted. Do you realize that? Because remember when we rebooted, he was on every damn show we reviewed.
No, because he was in all the. If anybody goes back and listens to like the 1989 shows we did and the ECW shows we did, he's in all of them. So much damn Jack Victory. I don't think Jack Victory and Rip Morgan are from New Zealand, by the way. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not.
Yeah, and I just think it's funny. Like when I think of opponent for Great Mood, I think of Jack effing Victory.
Well, and Rip Morgan, for God's sake. I mean, damn.
Right.
This was just
man.
I'll say that, and I haven't seen much of Mr. Saito, but what I did see, I liked. I thought was, he was good. Former partner of Mr. Fuji in the WWE, by the way. I believe
a pretty big acting resume, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Quite a few.
Well,
movies.
he's I think he's a good friend with Eric Bischoff. He's the one that Bischoff would go back and forth with. He was kind of like one of his main contacts in New Japan for the longest time. And I think he said he still keeps up with Mr. Saito's widow over in Japan. But this match went for 5 minutes and 41 seconds. By the way, if nobody's seen Mr. Saito before, just imagine he's like, I don't know, average height, and he's about as wide as he is tall. It's just built like a brick you-know-what house. But I said, here's the other typo. Someone messed up on the stats, saying that Jack Victory's name was Jacko Victory.
Good Lord. There's the O from Mysterio that we're missing. All right.
Yeah, right.
Crap.
Where's the O? You put it on the end of Jack Victory. He's Jacko now. God dang it.
Jacko.
Where does he come from? I don't know.
Jacko.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, for God's sake, at least. And they did this before every single match all night. Well, let's look at the Starrcade stats. Like, let's not. Mr. Saito
Trying to make it special.
Yeah. Mr. Saito pulled no punches as he beat the absolute tar out of both men. Rip Morgan kind of sucked. Saito ducks it close. Yeah, he sucked. This was a pet peeve of mine. I saw a couple people do it throughout the night, but Rip Morgan did it, and I was just like, what the frick, dude? He got whipped across the ropes, and instead of, like, natural momentum taking shoulder, you turn shoulder against the ropes and you bounce back, he did, like, a full spin to hit the ropes. I'm like, that looks so stupid and unnatural. It was a little thing, but it just, like, it makes you look like a rookie.
Well, he was.
But anyway, Saito ducks a clothesline attempt from Morgan, who hit victory back into a bridging German suplex from Muta for the win. Uncle Dave only gave this 1 3/4 star. I don't know what the hell shaved off a 4th star, but I gave it 2 stars. What say you?
I didn't like it. I gotta be honest. I thought it was a 1.
I thought it was okay, but it was mostly a match to display what the Japanese guys could do. Like, that was basically it. And it's kind of
just kill the guys.
Yeah. Well, it's basically. I mean, Great Muta was great. Saito beat the crap out of everybody. Jack Victory's role throughout, I want to say, his entire career was let us see what the other guy can do against you.
Make him look really strong.
Yeah. By the way, I forgot to mention at the top of the show that Paulie Dangerously is on the call with Jim Ross for this show. It's kind of an odd pairing, and Tony Schiavone is doing interviews. So, whatever. But anyway, Paulie Dangerously asks the Japanese team if they're worried about any of the other teams in the tournament, but Saito says that they are the best. And Dangerously brings up the Steiner brothers, but Saito says that the Steiners are soft, and his team is number 1. So, stereotypical Japanese promo.
Announcer.
The next match was the Canadian team, represented by Danny Johnson and Troy Montour.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, Danny Johnson looked like a big, fat Native American, and Troy Montour looked like an out-of-shape cowboy. Canada!
Who was that that Native American guy on, like, one of the cards we did? And, like, who the hell is he?
Oh, I don't even remember.
Yeah, 2 cards ago. I thought that was him.
Yeah, he had, like, the whitest name of all time.
Yeah.
You see this guy come out in a headdress doing a war dance.
I don't remember his name because I never even heard of him until we did that show.
Yeah, same here. And I don't know who the hell these guys were, but I'm like, these guys are the Canadian team? The guy that looks like he stole...
You look at what Canada's produced since then. It's like, wow, they started low. They only went up from there.
Danny Johnson looks like... I'm trying to think. Like Tatanka just let himself go. And Troy Montour looks like he raided Black Bart's closet. But they're taking on the Soviet Union team, so you know where we are in history.
What part of Canada were they from, by the way? I'm just curious.
The southern part. I don't know. But they're taking on the Soviet Union team of Salman Hashimikov and Viktor Zangief. Yeah, Zangief.
Fun fact, that was a play on Zangief from Street Fighter.
Yeah, man. This was quite the team, man.
Quite the match.
Yeah, it went for just shy of 4 minutes. I said, both teams look like a group of middle-aged dads getting ready for a barbecue/pool party.
Holy crap.
Am I wrong? I mean,
move on.
The Soviet team came out. The one dude's balding with a big old porno stash. Neither one of them are, like, particularly in shape. The other one's just kind of like, this looks like a dad in a, like, that put on a singlet. Like, what the F is this? And I already said what the Canadian team looked like. Yeah. I said one of the Soviets is hairier than a bear, and Troy Montour looks like a fake pizza guy in the bad 80s pornos.
Wow. Real quick, I just want to point out, because I wanted to find out who these guys were. They don't even have wiki pages, so they literally didn't matter.
Go figure. When you don't even have a Wikipedia page, you know you're, like, meaningless.
Especially in wrestling with all the freaking, fanboys in their basements making these pages. I'm like, they can't even do it. You're nobody.
Oh, yeah. Uncle Dave said everyone in this match looked really bad, and this was 2 minutes longer than necessary. The Soviets win with a belly-to-belly into a pin on Montour. He gave it -1 1/4 star. I don't know what bumped it down to 1 1/4, but whatever. I gave it 1.5. I don't know. I liked the mat wrestling of the Soviet team. I'll say that. That's the only thing I enjoyed about this entire effing debacle. What say you?
I hated it all of it.
Yeah.
None of the star.
I wonder if these are the guys that, guys like this are the ones that Jim Cornette's talking about. It's like, God dang, you gotta look like grown men out in that ring. Gotta come out of a grown man box.
What the hell?
I don't know. We get Tony Schiavone interviewing Sting backstage. The audio is absolutely horrible, but I was able to figure out.
I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Yeah.
The audio, the misspellings.
Something tells me that the production team here sucked ass. But I don't know where I get that. It just, call me Nostradamus here. But I was able to figure out.
Mentioning in this podcast, by the way, folks.
Yeah. I figured out that Sting was confused by the Black Scorpion, but he said that he was going to figure out who he is here tonight. Yeah, you will.
Okay, not to get ahead, but I guess we can talk about it. But I'm just going to say it. Even as a freaking 6-year-old kid, I knew who it was. Is that bad?
You knew who it was during the match or
yes,
during the build-up?
The whole thing.
Oh, I'm like, through all the build-up, you knew who it was?
Yeah, I'm like, we know who it is, right?
I don't know. Well, I mean, you were ahead of even the booking team, because according to the booking team, they didn't even know who it was going to be until like the week of Starrcade.
I just was like, that's Ric Flair, right? He keeps attacking Sting. We know Sting and Flair. Come on.
Well, they said the guy who was originally going to be him, Ric Flair, actually, like the week of the show, it was like some young guy. I can't even remember now. But Flair was like, hey, if we do this to this kid, it's going to kill his career. Let's...
Barry Windham.
Wow. Yeah,
no, it was supposed to be Barry Windham.
That might have been one of the choices. There was another one that I can't remember.
The whole thing was like Windham just did the fake Sting thing at Halloween Havoc. It's like really two pay-per-views in a row. He's going to be that kind of thing. So,
yeah. I can't remember who it was now off the top of my head. But yeah, it was supposed to be, they were going to put somebody else under the Black Scorpion hood. And Ric Flair was like, he's like, let me do it. He's like, I'm basically bulletproof here. He's like, you're not, nothing's ever going to end.
And he knew by this time next year he'd be in the bigger company. So he didn't give a damn.
Oh my God. Yeah. I forgot about I forgot about all that stuff, but yeah, this has been going on since August of 1990, by the way. They were just trying to make something mysterious. It's Ole Anderson.
The payoff wasn't at Halloween Havoc. Why?
Because they felt they could build it up to this, I guess. I don't know. But it was the voice was done by Ole Anderson, which is why, when I did the voice last week on the podcast, you were like, "Now you sound like the Shockmaster." It's like, yes, it was the same guy.
That's the same guy?
Yeah.
Someone will get that.
Yeah. Wow. But the main suspect for most people was actually Jim Hellwig, a.k.a. the Ultimate Warrior. But there was
How is that even remotely possible?
I know.
He's literally holding a title in the other company.
Yeah. Other people thought it was, for anybody who knew who the hell this guy was former Power Team USA partner of Sting, Dave Shelton, a.k.a. the Angel of Death. It was Al Perez.
Sounds like a horrible biker name.
Right. It was going to be Al Perez, by the way. So the wrestler playing him this time was Al Perez, who, according to Ric Flair, was supposed to remain the Black Scorpion until the unmasking. This is before he quit. So I guess Flair didn't step up until after he quit. But
revisionist history, folks.
Yeah, right. So Perez...
and Hulk Hogan gets crap for that, but Flair's fine. Okay.
Yeah, Flair you could excuse for, a little bit of the drinky drink, but that's neither here nor there.
That's fair.
We now see a clip from TV that led to the next match. Terry Taylor says that he's going to figure out the kink in Alexandra York's system, and she slaps him. He and Michael Wall Street have to be held apart from a fight because, we don't want to see that breakdown now. That could be chaos.
That's the tax man and the Red Rooster, dude. Come on, dude. That's...
right.
Man. Yeah. That's a dream even Dana White wish you can put on.
We said no more freak shows. All right, the next match was Terry Taylor taking on Michael Wall Street with Alexander York in his corner. This went for 6 minutes, 52 seconds, so the computer was wrong.
But only a little bit. Analytics can't always be correct.
Yeah, I guess so. But anyway, Wall Street wears a suit to the ring. Taylor jumps in.
Because why not?
Well, hell yeah. Taylor jumps in before he can even take the suit off. A timer is in the corner of the screen, by the way, counting down from 8 minutes and 32 seconds, because that's what the computer said the match was going to go for. Jim Ross says that York should have plastic surgery to have her nose lowered because her head is always up in the air. And Paul Lee says, I bet Missy Hyatt can recommend a good plastic surgeon.
Wow. Good Lord.
Ross says, I knew you were going to use that line. And Paul Lee says, well, yeah, I have it written down right here. I like how even back then...
You have to admit, that's great that he just flat out admits it. I got it written down. I knew.
I know. I like how even back then Paul Heyman was just like, F it.
Do it live.
Yeah. Goddamn, I'll write it myself. We'll do it live. The Wall Street hits the stun gun on Taylor and then pins him with the stock market crash, which was like a spinning Samoan drop. I feel like this could have been better if it went a tad longer. I don't know about you.
I don't want to get into my rating just yet, but go ahead.
Well, Uncle Dave gave it 2 1/4 star. I gave it 2.5 stars because I thought it was at least average. What say you?
I gave it 2. I thought it was way, way better than I thought it was going to be. I really thought it was going to just be the drizzling craps. And I really liked it.
I'm one of the only people I know, like, I think you're on the same boat as me, where, I think Terry Taylor was better than a lot of people give him credit for. I thought he was really good.
Said this. I thought he was damn good, and they wasted him.
Yeah. I mean,
if he wasn't, like, nephew number 1 before Brian Alvarez.
Right. I mean, in their defense, from everything I heard, he was kind of a pompous ass, and he didn't know when to shut his mouth. So he kind of dug himself into a lot of holes. I mean, he himself said there was one time where he was sitting on a plane next to Dusty Rhodes, and Dusty had his headphones on, and for some reason, Taylor kept, like, busting out into Dusty Rhodes impressions. And every time Dusty would take his headphones off, he's like, "Han, you say something?" He's like, "Oh, nothing." And then he would go right back to it. And then, like, a year later, they were hanging out together, and Dusty's like, he's like, "I could hear everything you said. I didn't have nothing playing in my headphones." And he was like, "Oh, crap." So, yeah, it's crap like that. And like you said, Taylor felt like, oh, if I go run to Dave and give him all the inside scoops, he'll talk good about me in his little newsletter. And everybody effing knew it. And the thing was, Ric Flair did it, sure, but Ric Flair could get away with it because he was Ric effing Flair. Terry Taylor.
Literally untouchable.
Yeah. What were they going to do to Ric? Nothing. I mean, Jim Herd tried, but as we'll see. But we get a commercial for Wrestle War 91, which will feature War Games, but doesn't take place until February, so still a couple months off.
I thought that promo was hilariously bad.
Yeah, it was pretty stupid. But I will say, this is one of the first cases I've found of, like, because back then it was always a build-up to a match, like this guy versus that guy. We're building up the main event as this. But back then, like, I think this is one of the first cases of you're building up to, we're having War Games, tune in for War Games. We're not going to say exactly who's in it, but War Games, right?
91, that would end up being Sting Squadron, right?
I think so. I think we basically knew who was going to be in it, but this next match, man.
Team Sting and Team Black Scorpion, yeah.
Hell yeah. This next match, holy God, man. It was the Big Cat and the Motor City Madman taking on the Skyscrapers. Danny Spivey and Sid Vicious, 1 minute and 1 second long. The Big Cat is the future Mr. Hughes. The Motor City Madman had other gimmicks, but nothing that anybody gives a crap about. It's funny how Sid had always had a huge following, by the way, no matter what the hell he did. Like
man.
Yeah, the crowd was going absolutely effing nuts for him here. They didn't give a crap about Spivey. They loved Sid. And I'm like, why? I mean, don't get me wrong, you and I have pointed out we're Sid fans, but, like, here? Whatever. The Skyscrapers beat the ever-loving crap out of their opponents. They hit an assisted powerbomb on the Motor City Madman for a quick pin. Uncle Dave gave this 1 star. I gave it a dud. What say you?
I don't like giving 0 stars, but I'm almost tempted to just do it, but I'll give it 1.
This sucked. Even for a squash match, this sucked. But Paulie dangerously tries to interview the Skyscrapers, who lift him up, and they shout at him about how dominant they are. Then Sid says that the Skyscrapers rule the world.
Yeah. Kind of funny how he would carry that on for the rest of his career.
I know. Something tells me big He-Man fan.
Right.
I could be wrong, but
just I don't get it though. I mean I like it. Don't get me wrong, but even I was part of it. But what the hell was it about Sid? He just had something. Just like
I know. Well, I mean,
you know when they say, "What is it? What the hell is it?" Like seriously, what is it? I know. Like I always loved him. He was like one of the first heels I ever rooted for. I don't know why.
Yeah, he just had something about him. It was like a gravitational pull. It's odd, but
I think it's because he was like a big man, well built, but not too overbuilt. Like you know what I mean?
Up next, we got Tommy Rich and Ricky Morton with Robert Gibson in their corner, taking on the Fabulous Freebirds, Michael P.S. Hayes and Jimmy Jam Garvin, with Little Richard Marley in their corner. This went for 6 minutes, 13 seconds. Little Richard Marley, I wonder what that name is a mashup of. They didn't make it incredibly obvious. It's weird.
Marley.
Yeah. Well, Robert Gibson is on crutches with a brace over his entire right leg. Garvin and Hayes have the Confederate flag painted on their faces.
What year are we in?
90.
No, I mean right now.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's just, look.
You may literally go to jail for doing that right now.
Yeah, it's, well, you'll at least get punched in the face for it now. But anyway, Little Richard Marley looks like Cheeseburger's dad.
Wow.
Am I wrong?
No, and it very well maybe.
Yeah, I was looking at him. I was like, God dang, he looks like Cheeseburger, but older. Marley slips off the top rope and hits Garvin in the back behind the referee's back. So Garvin treats him like Bart Simpson, and Garvin is Homer. He just chokes him and shakes him. Yeah, exactly what he did. This leads to Morton being able to roll Garvin up for the pin.
I never thought of that. If I'd have thought of that, I'd probably have been losing it laughing when I watched it.
That's what I was like, he's Homer Simpsoning him. Like, what the hell? But this, and think about this, the Simpsons were on TV at this time.
I think they're only in their second year, too.
Yeah, right. Uncle Dave gave this 1 star. I thought it was worthy of 2 stars. What say you?
Oh, definitely 1.
It wasn't a good match.
And I'm agreeing with that fool a lot today. Holy crap.
This was yet another match where, I mean, you and I have stated this before, show me a good Tommy Rich match.
Yeah. I don't understand, historians that go crazy over his skill or...
He was... okay, and I've stated this before, too. He's not bad. He's boring.
Yeah.
And I would say he's like the whitest milquetoast babyface ever, but his blandness matches his skin tone. He's
but dude, his nickname was Wildfire, man.
Yeah, and he was more like, if anybody watched Ragnarok, you're more like smoldering fire. He's just like, blah. I just never gave a crap about Tommy Rich. I don't think I ever will. Even teaming him up with Ricky frickin' Morton. God, that couldn't even make him exciting. I will say that him and Ricky were competing over who had the whitest, blondest hair. Either way, after the match, the Freebirds beat the tar out of Little Richard Marley.
Richie?
Yeah, whatever.
Oops.
They beat the tar out of Little Richard Marley after the match, hitting a double DDT on him. After they're completely done with the beatdown, then Morton and Rich chase them off. We got to make sure you kill the little dude before we chase you off out of here. However, the Freebirds aren't done. The Freebirds aren't done, and they double clothesline Robert Gibson on the ramp before Rich and Morton chase him off the back again, while holding on to Gibson's crutch. Just what the hell?
This would be the catalyst, by the way, of Ricky Morton going to the York Foundation.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's odd. Didn't he feud with Robert Gibson for a while?
I think they did, and then they got back together, obviously. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. People were talking about, they were like, I don't know. The Ricky Morton versus Robert Gibson was one of them things that sounded better in your head.
Definitely.
But up next, Tony Schiavone interviews the U.S. champion Stan Hansen, who has his mouth full of tobacco. I was about gagging during this one. He literally had it dripping down his stomach. Is like, ugh, and he's spraying it all over the damn place. Like Tony Schiavone's like standing back with his arm extended all the way out because he's getting sprayed with tobacco juice. Hansen explains that this is basically just going to be a Texas bull rope match, but they renamed it for him. So, I got a big fat wife and 7 kids to feed. You remember that promo?
Oh, yes.
He did that in the WWF, I believe. Oddly enough, he did not have a big fat wife at home. He has a little Asian wife that he met over in Japan. So,
Carl Anderson's pleased.
Yeah, right. He was the original guy with a hot Asian wife. The Steiner brothers up next. Rick and Scott represent Team USA. They're taking on Team Mexico, Conan and Rey Mysterio. The semifinals of the tournament here. This one went just shy of 3 minutes. The Steiners hit their electric chair bulldog double team move on Conan almost, within the first, 30 seconds. But they don't pin him for some reason. He lays there for a few moments, then he gets up, completely fine, tags out to Mysterio. What the F was this?
Prolonging?
And I was just like, why did you hit your finisher right away, don't pin him, and then he no-sells it? The F!
Don't question logic.
Well, Mysterio tries
Although
to
I didn't catch that, by the way. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I was just like, he lays there, kind of dead. They're kind of like, yeah, we hit our finishers. Okay, and then that was it. And he just, stands up and calmly walks over and tags out, gets on the apron.
You always got to admire your work in anything you do, dude. Come on.
Yeah. Morons. Well, them degrees they got from the University of Michigan, they went to good use.
They did not go to Michigan for the degrees, and you know it.
Yeah. Mysterio tries to hit a running Frankensteiner on Rick, but he's caught, and he gets hit with a falling powerbomb for the win. Uncle Dave gave this one and a 4-star. I gave it 1 star. Whole thing sucked. What say you?
I gave it a whole star.
Yeah, this blew ass. Not really much else to say about that. Moving on. Tony Schiavone interviews Barry Windham and Arn Anderson as they show footage of Ric Flair's limo being driven by Theodore Long, unbeknownst to him, being pulled over to the side of the road, and Long gets a team of 4 men to abduct Flair, dragging him off. I couldn't see who the 4 men are. One of them looked like Michael Hayes.
I couldn't either.
I just saw a big blonde mullet and a beard, and I was like, Michael Hayes? I don't know. But yeah,
that could have been anybody back in 1990.
Right. Keep in mind, by the way, something to look at for the end of the show. Flair had long hair in this scene.
Because Jim Herd hadn't made him cut it yet.
Yeah, remember that for the end of the show. I'm just hold on to that thought.
I swear, I just got what you mean. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Right. Up next, we got Team Japan, Ito and Great Muta taking on the team of the Soviet Union, Viktor Zangief and Salman Hashimikov.
Just say the Soviets, okay?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that last effing name. Whatever. Team Dad Bod. I don't know. But either way. Again, it's a semifinals match. Went for just over 3 minutes. Mr. Saito hits a Saito suplex on the skinny, balding one, whoever that is, and I didn't catch their names. I don't know.
The skinny, balding one.
Anyway, he cradles him for a pin. Uncle Dave called this match watchable.
Really?
Which is the greatest compliment you could possibly give this match. Yeah, he called it watchable and then gave it 1 star. I gave it 2 stars because I thought these two teams did okay for 3 minutes with, stuff. I don't know.
Well, I think you're nuts. I gave it 1 star.
I don't know. I like the mat wrestling of the Soviets, and I thought it went well with the Japanese team brawling with it. I don't know. Anyway.
I really feel like you're just looking for stuff to say now.
It is what it is. I'm trying to find some positives, but I don't know. Moving on. Not much positive about this whole tournament. Yeah. Tony Schiavone's in the crowd yet again, interviewing Teddy Long and Doom. Long is wearing a Doom t-shirt and slacks, while Doom are wearing jeans and belly shirts. Yikes.
Because that's a look.
Yeah, bro.
Wow.
Long is trying to get over his homie don't play that catchphrase, and Damon Wayans needs to call his attorney. You get that one?
I know, I totally get it. I just didn't think you would.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was In Living Color on during this time?
Yeah, I think it just started.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out which came first. Did Long start it, and then they ripped it off?
No, hell
Okay.
no. Homie the Clown started it.
Okay, that's what I thought. Wait, who the hell is watching In Living Color? Like, why was Theodore...
It was a hot show, dude.
Well, no, that's not what I was getting at. Like, why would he be watching In Living Color, see the Homie the Clown skit, and think, my God, I can get that over as my wrestling character? Homie don't play that. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Why? But yeah, no,
the reason.
I know, all about the show. I didn't watch a ton of it, but I know about it. Yeah, but anyway, I said Simmons looks angry, and Reed looks like he just smelled... I'm sorry. Simmons looks angry, and Reed looks like he just smelled a pretty rank fart.
You know what I said about Reed? I'm like, is this where Trevor Murdoch got his facial expressions from? That was one of my notes.
He had this look on his face like he's like, damn, who cut that? Like, oh, man. Somebody light a match. Damn.
You're a little too early for the dams.
Yeah, and wrong member of Doom. All right. Next match. Stan Hansen defends the United States title against Lex Luger in a Texas Lariat match. It went for just over 10 minutes. I said there's an extremely stark contrast here between the ripped, jacked, and tanned Lex Luger and the doughy, pale Stan Hansen.
Wow. Yeah.
I said this is all pretty sloppy, and it's basically just a brawl. Hansen loses a boot at one point. I was like going back and forth on this, so I didn't see where he lost the boot. Luger lunges for the fourth turnbuckle at the end. For those that don't know the point of the match, you have to go around and touch all four turnbuckles. If anybody's seen the one, my favorite, between Eddie Guerrero and JBL in WWE. But they didn't have lights at the time. You just had to kind of rely on the ref to shout into the crowd. But Luger lunges for the fourth turnbuckle, and he knocks the referee out in the process. Stevie Wonder could have saw that coming, by the way.
Yeah, it was clear as day.
Yeah,
he got into place.
Yeah, the referee was standing right between him and the turnbuckle he needed to touch, and he wouldn't effing move. He stood there for like 5 minutes. I'm like, well, you know what's going to happen. Like, god dang. But anyway, so the referee can't call the match for Luger. Another referee then runs down to Nick Patrick. He runs down, he starts counting the corners for Hansen, who's now in control, who gets all four turnbuckles. Nick Patrick awards the match to Hansen, but the first referee, Randy Anderson, suddenly wakes up, and he awards the match and the U.S. title to Luger. And so Nick Patrick just waves it off, goes, oh, well, okay, well, fine, we'll go with what you said, which never happens ever in wrestling, but whatever. Uncle Dave, whatever, he gave this 3 1/4 star. I gave it 2.5 because I said it was a very average Texas Bull Rope match. What say you?
Gave it 2. Did have fun watching it, though.
Oh, yeah, it didn't suck.
It was a waste of time, so.
No, I like both of these guys, and I know it's not a popular opinion to, say you like Lex Luger's wrestling abilities, but I dug it. It was fine.
Well, if you like him, you don't know anything about wrestling, apparently.
Oh, yeah, and nobody ever liked Lex Luger, ever. He never got a positive crowd reaction, and if he did, it was very short and blew over quickly. I'm just saying that for all of you that don't get the joke. All of the dirt sheet writers claim that, so... because we don't have ears and eyes, Greg.
Or opinions.
Right. Well, Jim Ross interviews Lex Luger at ringside after this. Luger is excited to be the U.S. champ and says that his journey isn't over, it's just beginning. And like a perfect Lex Luger promo, short and effing sweet. Get him in, get him out.
I think he was new to being a face at this point, too.
The next match is the team of Doom, Butch Reed and Ron Simmons defending the NWA World Tag Team titles against Arn Anderson and Barry Windham. Teddy Long is in Doom's corner. This went for just shy of 7.5 minutes. Windham and Anderson almost look like they're wearing DX t-shirts. Did you think that?
I didn't, but...
It's like
I
a
must
red.
have not noticed, but
It was like a red circle, and then you got 4 horse heads, and they were green, like going around, and it almost looked like it was like the shape of an X almost. So it almost looked like the last DX T-shirts they had. Wyndham, speaking of haircuts, Wyndham chopped all of his hair off at this time, and he was like, I didn't know that he had short hair at this time, but he was wrestling in jeans, chaps, and a leather vest. So he's letting us know that he's very white.
very Texan. Yes, very white too.
Oh yeah.
He's letting us know he's very white.
Well, yeah.
Dude, he's from Sweetwater, Texas. Okay, that name alone screams white.
Yeah. Oh, good grief. Well, only 2 things come from Texas: Spears and Barry Windham. Anyway, Barry gets busted open against a ring post by Butch Reed. Reed gets busted open later on. Next to bleed was Double A. I think Simmons was bleeding, but not very much, because he had like a headband on, and I think it soaked up most of what he was trying to bleed.
Yep.
The referee at the same time counts a 3 count as Simmons pins Arn Anderson and Barry Windham pins Butch Reed. So there's no winner. You definitely wouldn't see any matches like this in the WWF until the mid-90s.
Yeah.
So this was a definite street fight. Uncle Dave gave this 4 stars. I was like, whoa. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was good. What say you?
I gave it 3. It's probably one of my most enjoyable matches of the night, actually.
Yeah, I really liked it. Yeah, but I didn't think it was 4 freaking stars. I mean, like, good grief. It was under 8 minutes. Like, I'm not saying that it has to be super long, but like, dang, dude, what the hell? Maybe it's because it was something different. Like, this didn't happen all the time back in 1990. So, moving on past this, we get another commercial for the upcoming War Games match at Wrestle War 91 in February. And then we finally get the finals of the Pat O'Connor Memorial International Cup Tag Team Tournament.
Yeah, this has been a barn burner too, man.
I know. And finally we come down to... Why does it always come down to Team USA versus Team Japan? Almost every tournament ever. Is
the obvious reasons?
Was it just me, or is that just a thing?
Well, TNA used to do a lot of USA and Mexico, so...
Yeah. But we get the Steiner brothers, Rick and Scott, versus the Great Muta and Mr. Saito. This match went for just shy of 11 minutes. Both teams get a ton of sparking pyro. Tiger Hattori is the referee for this one. Behind the referee's back, Great Muta channels his New Japan version of himself, and he hits Rick Steiner in the head with a ring bell. For anybody that... Well, he used the ring bell and the ring bell hammer a lot in Japan, so if anybody watches his stuff from over there, those are like his favorite weapons.
Besides the mist.
Yeah. Saito has a sweeper on Scott, who tags out to Rick. Rick leaps over Saito's head and Sunset Flip pins him, and Scott holds Muta back as the Steiners get the win. Dave gave this 3 1/4 stars. I gave it 2.5. What say you?
I gave it 2. Didn't enjoy it that much, but it was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, I think it would have been better if they hadn't already wrestled like multiple times this freaking night.
And I thought it was weird that he kind of went like with the ring bell. I thought this was going to be pure wrestling.
Yeah.
Then we decided to inject that, which nothing wrong with it, but
well, it
was a nice streak.
Well, you got to put over the evil Japanese wrestlers taking on the USA guys.
Right. It's true.
So, hey, at least we didn't have Gorilla Monsoon going, my God, he Pearl Harbored him. Ugh. But the models all come back onto the stage holding the national flags. Tony Schiavone presents the Pat O'Connor Memorial International Cup to the Steiner brothers on the stage, and they thank the O'Connor family in attendance. They don't show them on camera for whatever reason. Jim Herd then comes out to thank the O'Connor family and the fans, as well as to congratulate Steiner brothers. So we get another Jim Herd sighting.
Legend has it, in the cup there were some Pizza Hut coupons too.
My God. Yeah, then Scott, even back in 1990, stumbles all over his words. He says that the real heroes are over in Kuwait and says, quote, my great-grandfather, both my uncles fought in Korea and Vietnam. He can't even remember who fought in what.
Yeah. My dad was in the Civil War.
Yeah. Rick then tells the troops in Kuwait to kick some butt. For those don't get
Wasn't
the
that
time.
already over, basically?
Nah, we were still in Desert Storm in '90. Like
It was not a war, though. It was a one-sided ass kicking. It was over in 3 days. They were just over there for security. So
yeah, they were dragging it on.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at @main_event_marks and Facebook at facebook.com/main event marks pod.
Now, back to our program.
Before the main event, Dick the Bruiser stiffly walks to the ring dressed like Tugboat, but in blue and white stripes instead of red and white stripes.
wow, I didn't piece that together. Holy crap.
Am I wrong here?
No, but I just didn't see it till now.
Dangerously kept referring to him as Popeye the Sailor Man.
Well, that one I caught, yeah.
During the match, he said something about, I'm going to give a shout out to his wife at home, Olive Oil. He's making a nice spinach salad for him for when he gets home. Damn it, Paul. 4 black scorpions walk to the ring while a spaceship-looking thing lowers and closes while pyro explodes behind it. A voice comes over the PA system that says that the 4 men we see before us are just messengers. There's only one true black scorpion. And the pod opens, and a man in a different kind of black scorpion mask steps out wearing a silver sparkly cape. They zoom in way too close on the scorpion's face, by the way, and we can clearly see it's Ric freaking Flair. Just
that
like,
nose. Yep.
Oh yeah, Tony Schiavone pointed out, he was like, you can't hide that beak. So, and that impeccable tan, by the way, can't hide that.
Hey, what event is this?
This is the main event of Starrcade, baby.
Yeah, better have that tan going.
Oh yeah, and he's taking on another man with an impeccable tan at this point. But 7 years later,
who is the butt of this joke?
I know. Well, this main event match is Sting defending the NWA World Heavyweight Championship against the Black Scorpion. It is a cage match with special guest referee Dick the Bruiser. It went for 18 minutes 31 seconds. I will hand it to the Black Scorpion that, and I put in quotations, quote, the Black Scorpion, that he wrestled in a way that if his appearance wasn't so obvious, I wouldn't have been able to tell that it was him until about halfway through the match when he just said F it and started doing his normal stuff. Plus, only one man bumps the way that guy does. So, I mean, come on. Towards the end of the match, Sting hits a Stinger Splash and then locks in the Scorpion Deathlock, but the Black Scorpion manages to crawl out of it. Sting rips off the mask, but the Black Scorpion has a silver mask on under it. After a while, Sting throws the Scorpion face first into the cage over and over and press slams him face first into the cage. The mask is ripped and the Scorpion is bleeding because it's the main event of Starrcade and, well, it's Ric Flair. So
and nobody bleeds like that.
Yeah. What do you mean I'm in a mask and I can't bleed? Hold my beer.
Bro, it slit his throat, bro.
Sting hits a crossbody off the top for a pinfall victory. Uncle Dave uses a baseball analogy of the home team being up by 6 runs in the 9th inning when the greatest closing pitcher in history stepped up to finish it off and was told by the coach that he had to... Go ahead before I finish the analogy here.
You don't bring in your closer in your head by 6 runs. So that already null and void that whole thing.
Yeah, I know.
What the hell? 4 is the absolute max. 3, obviously, to save it. But 4 is the max. You don't bring in a closer in your head by 6. You save him.
Well, even if you did, you wouldn't bring... If you had... I mean, you don't have just one closer on your bench, do you?
You have one dedicated, but others can do it.
Okay, well... Either way, but he said you bring in the greatest closing pitcher in history to step it up to finish it off, and he was told by the coach that he called him a coach, so it's a manager, but, whatever. He was told by the manager that he had to pitch with a mask on, and he wasn't allowed to throw any pitches that might identify him as the star closer.
That's like telling Mariano Rivera not to use the cutter.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I get the analogy. He's not wrong.
There's a lot wrong with it, actually, but...
Well, he gave it 3/4 of a star. He didn't even give it a full effing star. I gave it 2.5 because I said it was very average. A very average cage match. And we'll get to the post-match shenanigans here in a minute. But what say you?
I gave it 2 only because I was kind of into it.
Yeah, I didn't think it was terrible.
Myself back into how it was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And, like, I really enjoyed anything Sting did, so.
And also, kudos to Flair for, like I said, until about halfway through the match, besides his appearance, I couldn't tell it was him. He didn't do his normal stuff to indicate, I'm Ric Flair. But the other 4 Black Scorpions hit the cage and are beaten up and unmasked one by one by Sting and Dick the Bruiser. The Horsemen then hit the cage with a chair, and they beat up Bruiser and Sting. Anderson DDTs Sting on the chair and beats him up with the chair afterwards. And then all of a sudden they're keeping the door closed to the cage so you can't get in the door. And we see the Z-Man, Tommy Rich, and Ricky Morton try to get in. Quite the cavalry. But the Horsemen fend them off. The Steiners rush down with bolt cutters to open the locked cage door and take an eternity to do so. The babyfaces rush.
Hey, that in their defense, that looked hard, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they were fumbling. I think they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, they were like, what the F? But they had almost as hard a time with that cage door as Mark Henry did.
Good Lord.
Sorry, I had to.
We're 7 years away from Kane just like pulling it off like a hair.
Right? The babyfaces rush the cage as Sting rips off the mask of the Black Scorpion to reveal, oh my God, it's Ric Flair with a new haircut. He chopped off.
I didn't even piece that hair thing together until now. Like, I mean, earlier in the night.
Yeah, because I was sitting there, I was like, man, he did a really good job of tucking his hair up under that mask. And then I was like, wait a minute, he chopped all his. I don't remember Flair getting a haircut in 1990. But now
Jim Herd wanted him to, and he wanted him to wear an earring, and he wanted to call him Spartacus.
I remember that, but I didn't think he did it. I just couldn't remember this.
Because when he shows up to WWE, he has short hair.
Yeah, I forgot about it.
Shorter.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole thing was just something, man. But, yeah, that's the end of the show. We'll get into the final ratings on the other end of this final break of ours.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at @MainEvent_Marks and Facebook at Facebook.com/MainEventMarksPod.
Now, back to our program.
All right, we are back. Final ratings of the show, man. 234 out of 447 fans that responded to the Wrestling Observer newsletter gave the show a thumbs up. 176 gave it a thumb, and the remaining 37 gave it thumbs in the middle reaction. The match between Doom and Arn Anderson and Barry Windham received the most votes for the night as the night's best match with 238 votes, while the match between the teams of, I'll just say the Soviet team, and Johnson and Montour received the most votes for the worst match of the night with 116. IMDb gave this 5.6 out of 10. CageMatch.net gave it 3.96 out of 10. I gave it 6 out of 10. What say you?
I really liked it. I said C+. Overall.
Overall what?
Overall, I liked it, but it wasn't great. But, like, I had fun watching it.
See, I can't say I really liked it. I will say I didn't hate watching the show. It wasn't like a slog necessarily, and I liked that they kept the matches kind of short. But, I don't know. It is what it is.
The whole thing didn't suck.
No. I felt if I were to give, judging on the Wrestling Observer scale, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, I'd give it thumbs in the middle. It's not something where I was like, my God, thank God that show's over. It's like,
right.
It was fine. I'm hoping the next one we review will be better. And I don't know. Speaking of getting into what we're reviewing next, on December 9th, we are going from WCW to ECW. We're covering ECW's Massacre on 34th Street 2000. That
was a fun show, actually. I'm actually looking forward to rewatching this.
I'm looking forward to rewatching it only because ECW didn't completely suck in the year 2000, and I know you don't hold a lot of things fondly from the memory of ECW, but I know you've talked up like the end of 99 and the year 2000.
I personally think 2000 was their best year, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, I felt like they were starting to step stuff up and look like a legit company at that point.
Which is sad because they're about to just go under.
Right.
That's horrible. Like if you guys had done this before, I don't know that would have changed much. Maybe it would have. I don't know, but
yeah. So we just reviewed a show from 1990. We're skipping ahead 10 years to 2000. So the show we just reviewed is about to turn 30. The show we're going to review next week is about to turn 20. So, big anniversary here, man. I hope everybody had a great Turkey Day. As we are rolling in to Christmas month here, we have 5 shows this month, not including the bonus show.
I'm excited about the bonus show.
I am too. I've seen some of it, not all of it, and
I've seen it a couple times. I'm looking forward to watching it back.
Nice. Well, we will see you all next week on December 9th, where we go to the land of extreme for a massacre on 34th Street.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal, and a Happy New Year.